Hey guys, thank you for tuning in for my Philippines tips. In particular, I'm going to be talking about Dumaguete, which is on the island of Negros, Negros Oriental specifically. And I'm going to do pros and cons. So number one, the first pro is that everything costs less, like half or sometimes 1/5, like houses and real estate and everything. Number two is that it's mostly Christian with traditional values, mostly Catholic, but very Christian, and there's some Protestant people too. Number three, taxis and tricycles are really cheap. They cost typically less than 100 pesos, and you can go just about anywhere in the city. I recommend holding on to the tricycle because, it turns and twists, and hold on where your right temple will hit the metal. Like if you hold on there, then your head won't hit the bars. Watch for holding on where there's sharp edges though, and burrs or rust, because you can cut yourself. You can use the word Kuya to address the driver. That means sir. You can say Kuya. And if you're going to go further, like out of town, you could take a Dumaguete bus called CERES, CERES. If you want to get a motorcycle license, you need to go to LTO. There's one in the Robinson Mall. Scooters, I think, are much easier to drive than a motorcycle because there's no gears to shift. They also have storage under the seat and they're wider. Pro number four, Western men are considered desirable. They're usually considered rich and everything, even if they're older, even if you have a bit of a dad bod. And I recommend going to the Philippine dating sites before you go to the Philippines, because going there alone seems kind of weird. You're on your own. Everything's going to cost more. You don't really know where you're going or what you're doing. Number five, tropical weather. It's sunny and warm. It's really nice in the Philippines. It's kind of hot actually, but lots of palm trees, lots of beaches. Number six is that there's lots of fresh fruits and fish, and people eat rice a lot. Basically, people eat healthier. They live healthier in the Philippines. They walk more places. That's why you won't see very many morbidly obese people there. You might see some people that are a little bit heavier, but you won't see really, really fat people. And I've known several people that have moved to the Philippines and got really skinny or a lot more healthy being there, looking 10 years younger and stuff. Number seven is kind of a fun thing. McDonald's has Coke floats, which I love, ice cream floats. They have this mashed potato, I think it's called Salisbury steak, but it's mashed potatoes with burger and mushroom gravy. It's really tasty. They also have fried shrimp, and they have spaghetti with sauce, so it's really tasty. Filipinos don't waste food, so usually you want to get a doggy bag at restaurants. Try not to order more than you can eat. There's a lot of people begging for food and a lot of poverty, so it's very selfish and insensitive to toss your food. And there's a restaurant called Mang Inasal, and they are pretty good. They have rice and barbecue chicken. I think most Westerners wouldn't find that too weird to eat. Pro number 8, you can bring food into movie theaters. If you bring a drink in, they'll want you to put it in their own little cups, but food is welcome in there. You can walk in with a pizza if you want. Can't do that in America. Number 9, there's beautiful beaches and ocean. I recommend Wuthering Heights. They have really good service. It's like a restaurant on the beach. You can go and get smoothies and drinks and stuff. It's really nice. Pro number 10, there's no sales taxes as far as I can see in the Philippines. Even tipping is 0, or if you must tip, it's usually like 5%. Overpaying or over-tipping is often seen as gullible or foolish, so you don't really need to do it. Number 11, they still have internet gaming cafes. I don't think we've had those for 20 years in Phoenix, where I live. So that's kind of cool. You can relive the past and play Fortnite on a high-end PC until 2 in the morning. Usually they're 24 hours too. Pro number 12, many things seem like it's 1994. Like 30 years ago, seriously. People still use CDs, and they're less addicted to their phones and video games, and they're generally nice, and they're honoring about God and everything. It's nice. A tip would be, don't raise your voice too much. Even your kids complaining or bickering can be really stressful to Filipinos. So I know Americans can be loud and argumentative or just debate issues, but remember that Philippines is a different country and people don't like that. Pro number 13 is Grab. Grab is basically Grubhub, and it's really cheap. It's only like $1 for delivery. So if you would rather not get all dressed up and go out and, get a trike and spend an hour driving back and forth, you can just order the food delivered to your door for like $1 or $2. It's amazing. Pro number 14, there's also grab trike, which means that you don't have to hail a trike in the street. A tricycle can come to your door and pick you up. Pro number 15 is I think most shaver cords and most laptop cords can be plugged straight in if they're marked 120 volt to 240 volt, because I think the Philippines is 220 volts, so those plugs will work. Other things though, you better be careful, like if you have some devices or something, but you might need a real adapter. Pro number 16, the Henry Resort is probably the nicest hotel in the city. I don't think the Airbnbs or VRBO are very nice unless you're going to pay a lot, but the Henry Resort I think between $70 and $90 a night, which where I come from in Phoenix, that would barely get you a Motel 6. I think Motel 6 is like $66 a night. So you can stay in the Henry Resort, a basic room there, and it's gorgeous, So pro number 17, Siquijor is an island. It's about an hour and a half or maybe an hour and 20 minutes, something like that, boat ride across. And then you get to Siquijor Island, and it's basically the island of beaches. And I highly recommend a place called Cocoa Grove, which is a resort there. They have 4 pools and beautiful rooms that are like little cabins on the beach, and you can have, I don't know, it's just really beautiful. I recommend the Montenegro ferry though to Siquijor, not the others like Anacostar and stuff. The Montenegro one actually costs less too, so it's kind of amazing. And pro number 18, the last one, is if you are looking to rent long-term, I recommend the Lamudi app, Lamudi. It's called Lamudi Philippines, and you can find things easily there. I do recommend using it from a PC though, because from the cell phone, I don't think there's the option to view the map, and the map is kind of neat to see where things are at. So I'm going to get into cons now. So number 1, Dumaguete is kind of dumpy. There's garbage around and ramshackle buildings. It's not true everywhere, but it's just not super nice. So maybe that bothers you, maybe it doesn't. Con number 2 is it's hot, and most places have poor AC. If that bugs you, you can choose to be in a place like Valencia, which is up the mountain a little bit. It's like 30-minute drive west of Dumaguete. Con number 3, Widowmakers for hot water. I found one in my room, and it was a little shocking. Widowmakers are like instant hot water heaters that use electricity, but the electricity is wired straight into the shower. If they're right on the end of the tap, like you see in this picture here, that's really dangerous. I think those ones are kind of phased out now. I would not use one of those. The modern ones are on the wall, and if it's a newer one, you'll probably be able to tell if it's old or not. If it's a newer one, they're usually quite a bit safer, but I still recommend showering daily because it's so hot in the Philippines and you're going to get sweaty, and use a lot of deodorant. Filipinos do see sweat as gross or dirty, so you'll want to carry a cloth or paper towel to wipe your forehead and face if it's hot out. For some reason, they're more grossed out by that than I think Americans are. And sometimes, different countries are sensitive to different cleanliness levels, so, want to watch for that. Con number 4, there's a lot of power outages or blackouts. They call them brownouts, but they're blackouts. And but most stores are open anyway with a generator, including Robinson Mall in Dumaguete. So you'll see a lot of people won't stay home. They'll go shopping when there's a brownout, and there'll be the population of the Robinson Mall will be 4 times more than it normally is because they have full AC there. Con number 5 is many stores close at 7 p.m. So if you've taken a tricycle to get somewhere, you're going to find yourself stranded if you hang around too much after 7 p.m. It might be difficult to get home. I don't know if you could probably still use grab trike, I guess, but if you're trying to hail a tricycle, is what I'm talking about, then you'll have a hard time. Con number 6 is killer monkeys. There's a monkey preserve on the way to Basay, which is over the mountains, kind of in the middle of the island. I would avoid that. I would be concerned about rabies and stuff. Con number 7 is a lot of places have the bucket system for toilets. It's a scoop in a bucket with no seat. It's very difficult to flush. They call it a CR or comfort room. So if you're traveling with kids, it can be very difficult. But yeah, I would avoid, either plan your trip very carefully or whatever. Just be prepared for that. Con number 8 is that there is very slow internet, and it does cut out from time to time. So if you're using the internet during the day constantly, you'll find that it might cut out on you 3 or 4 times a day for maybe 10 or 15 minutes at a time. and reconnect, and it will be slower than normal. Con number 9 is that there is wonky cellular. You have to buy load, which is basically minutes for your phone, and minutes in megabytes. And so if you want to know how much load you have, you can type *123# on your phone, which is it's called a USSD code. That'll tell you how much load you have for smart phone system. There's 2 systems. There's Smart and then Globe. Wi-Fi works for data, but apparently you can't do Wi-Fi calling. I wasn't able to do that. Maybe there's a way around it, but I couldn't do it. You may already know this, but for con number 10, you can be overcharged for stuff, especially if you're not with a Filipino. Westerner walking around will probably be charged 2 or 3 times what the normal rate is. So yeah, that can happen. So just watch for that. Con number 11 is there is a lot of dangerous driving. I recommend wearing a helmet if you're on a motorcycle for sure. If you're on a tricycle, maybe not, but you definitely need to hold on. Con number 12 is breathing the fumes on tricycles. I noticed that the older tricycles really have a lot of fumes. You're basically breathing carbon monoxide from a very poorly maintained engine, very old engine. So if you don't like that, or it might give you headaches or whatever, to avoid this, you can purposely only choose the better tricycles. There's only about 1 in 100 that's like this, but there are tricycles that are basically like designed to be a tricycle. They're more like a little go-kart, like a little golf cart, and they're made of plastic, and their fumes are properly vented, so that works out. Con number 13, there's a lot of ants and cockroaches, especially ants, and I recommend these little green packets of ant powder that you can get at a hardware store. I think it's called fipronil. It's basically powder you just pile in the corners and in the cupboards, and it might have some health risks. I don't know. I've heard it's not legal in the US, but it works really well. That's all I can say. Con number 14, your credit card can be randomly and often declined by your bank due to suspicion of fraud because you're in the Philippines. So you want to go with at least 3 cards with several thousand on each available, and don't get the temp gift card ones that are only functional in USA. And you probably want to get something like American Express. I didn't. I had one main credit card and it got canceled at least 3 times, and I had to call them, and it's long distance and they put you on hold and everything. Con number 15, I think is very important to know that ripped bills will not be accepted. So if you're carrying $100 bills, you definitely want to carry cash when you go to the Philippines, because cash is king there still. Like I said, 1994, right? So credit cards are accepted in a lot of places, and you will need credit cards for things like maybe booking airline flights or major hotel costs. But if let's say you're going there for several weeks and you bring $3,000, so you have $100 bills. What happened to me is 8 or 9 of my bills had little rips in them, like in the middle where they're folded. Even if it's a 1 millimeter rip, when you try to cash that money in, it won't be accepted. So that money's useless to you. In the US, it's useful, but in the Philippines, nobody will accept it. So just make sure you have nice, new, crisp bills when you go to the Philippines. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this and enjoyed making this recording for you. I had a really good trip there. I was there in January of 2024 for 1 week, and I was back for a whole month, most of April of 2024. And so, yeah, I hope this information makes your trip easier and more fun. And please like and subscribe. Thank you.